Yeah, we'll move on. And Bob Quinn finally went out and he made a deal yesterday that the Lions went out and traded for former Vikings and Dallas Cowboys defensive end Everson Griffen, who a lot of Lions fans wanted us to sign in the offseason. He went a very, very long time without being signed. And now the Dallas Cowboys are all of a sudden trading him out, which I don't know. I'm not mad at the Lions. I do think this is a good trade. I think it's Bob Quinn being aggressive and trying to actually improve our defense, which as me and
Instead
Dalton,
of selling, he's
yes.
actually buying. So there might look to be.
But yes, like you just said, it's better to be buyers at the deadline than sellers because normally when you're sellers, it looks like you were imploding or just trying to sell away your assets and tank for the
Get
season.
future, yeah.
Yeah, move on for the future and stuff like that. But when you're it's better to be buyers because it looks like we're trying to be aggressive and try to win games for the rest of the season is what it looks like. But my biggest concern is Everson Griffin went so long without being signed in the offseason. Why? There's got to be a reason for that. The Dallas Cowboys are trying to get rid of him. There's got to be a reason for that. And then I understand the Dallas Cowboys are terrible. They might just be trying to clear house and make room, get as many draft assets as they can so they can start building for the future because again, we have no idea what's happening with them with their quarterback, with their head coach, with anything. The only thing we know is that Zeke Elliott's going to be there for the next 3 to 4 years unless they end up trading his contract out of there. But either way, it's just so unless they're clearing house or just trying to get rid of everything, it just looks really suspicious.
Or like you brought up to me, is the Cowboys are eating what 6 million of his contract.
No, his contract is 6 million. They're eating half of it, so they're eating 3 million. We're only taking half, so we're only paying him 3 million.
So maybe they did want to sign him in the offseason, but he wanted that 6 million. Dallas is like, hey, we want to get rid of him. Give us a 6th round pick for him, and we'll even take 3 million of his cap to where you guys are only paying him three. And Bob Quinn was like, hey, I like that. $3 million, like for the rest of the season, come in and be an immediate impact. Obviously, he won't be playing in next week's game against the Colts, but as long as everything goes good, he should be good to go for the Minnesota Vikings game.
Yes, which that kind of helps us on two ends. One, because obviously he knows the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, probably not. It's been what, two? This is his
I think
first
this is
year.
his first year. Yeah,
Yeah, so he was there last year. So yeah, he's
yeah.
he's kind of he's familiar with their scheme and what they're trying to do and everything like that. So he can help us obviously on that front. And then also, Mia, as you and me discussed off air a little bit, that it's going to be good to take pressure off of both Trey Flowers and Romeo Cora, who that's kind of why like I'm not taking anything away from Romeo Cora. He has had an amazing year and he got an extension with us. I think it was a year or two ago because he had an amazing year. I think he we claimed Romeo Cora off waivers back in 2018 from the New York Giants, as you just mentioned, and he performed amazing for us that first year. So you think he led our team in sacks, as you just mentioned. So we signed him to I think a 2 or 3 year extension, and now again he last year was kind of a I wouldn't say a down year. He was still good, just not as effective as we wanted him
Our
to be.
whole team didn't have a pass rush last year, so no
Exactly.
one on our D line did good.
Exactly. Trey Flowers, it took him a little while to get back to his normal self, but now that Trey Flowers is playing like a normal self, he's usually almost doubled on every single play, so he doesn't even have a chance to get to the quarterback. And so Romeo Cora has been our only effective pass rusher, has been able to get any type of sacks or any quarterback pressures this year. So just having another player that, again, we can maybe line Romeo Cora up in maybe a linebacker position, an outside linebacker position, put Griffin and Flowers on the edge and just I,
Even just having that extra lineman just to rush, like honestly, we could throw like if we need to get like we really need to get pressure on like a third down, shoot, throw Trey Flowers, Everson Griffin, and Romeo Cora all in at once. Like,
exactly. And as you mentioned earlier in this show, we've shown that we've been a lot more aggressive on defense and Matt Patricia or Corey Underlin. I don't know who's making the play calling exactly, but they have been dialing it up on defense. They've been throwing what five, sometimes six people on pressures. They have been just bringing a lot more
and
people.
they've been switching it up from man to zone. Like we haven't just been running all man. Like they've been doing amazing by switching it up,
Hmm.
disguising, mixing the play calls,
Exactly.
bringing
So
pressure. Our run defense has been really good.
It's obviously he's not going to come in and be a starter. He's not going to
No.
play. He's only played 56% of the snaps for the Dallas Cowboys so far this season. So it's not like he's going to come in and be a huge starter. He's not going to have a, I mean, he might have a huge role, but I don't think he's going to play 75 to 80, 90% of the snaps on defense. He's just going to be one of those rotational players who we throw in, like you said, on blitz packages or just any other type of pressure or something like that. He's
Or
just
when Trey Flowers or Romeo Cora are just tired and need a break.
Exactly. That's another rotational player to swap in and out, or again, just be a situational type player who can be effective. Who again he has I think 2.5 sacks and 6 quarterback hits this year. So it's not like he hasn't been effective in Dallas, but I mean Dallas's defense has been absolutely atrocious this year. So you can't really attribute that to him. Obviously, there's 10 other people on defense with him, and he's only, again, like I just mentioned, only 56% of snaps. So
But he should come into Detroit and be an immediate help for us.
hmm
Because, I mean, 2 sacks in 50% of defensive snaps is pretty good. Like, he obviously still is good enough to do that. So if he gets an expanded role or even gets the same amount of role here, that 2 sacks in 56% of our snaps in 6 weeks, 7 weeks, I'll take that all every year. Like,
yeah, I mean he has played mostly NFC East teams, so you could attribute that. But again, I'm not saying anything. We'll just have to wait till, like you said, he's not going to be able to play against the Colts this week, but he's going to be playing against one of his former teams. So, and that maybe could uh, bring up a little bit of bitterness, when
yeah,
players
like
get cut.
you guys didn't want to resign me. All right, well, let me show you what you guys missed out on.
Exactly, and we all know that Kirk Cousins has not been the greatest this year. But again, that's following week. So again, is there anything else you wanted to mention on Everson Griffen or?
So far, I'm happy with the trade. I feel like it's a win-win trade no matter what because it's not like we gave up like a high draft pick or anything for him. So if it doesn't really work, all we gave up was a conditional 6th round pick.
And again, it's like as we mentioned earlier, it's better to be more buyers at the deadline than sellers because what was it last year that we sold traded Darius Slay away for a fifth
In
round
the
pick?
off season, but yeah,
Who? Okay, Quandre Diggs. What did we trade him for?
I believe like a fifth and a sixth or a sixth, and
Yeah,
I'm pretty
exactly.
sure it was nothing.
So we trade away Diggs last year at the offseason or at the trade deadline for a fifth or fourth or fifth round like pick. I can't remember
Yeah,
exactly what it was, but it was a lower round pick. And when I remember when we traded Quandre Diggs, I was like, "What the are we doing?" Like it did not make any
I
sense.
brought it up in last podcast that after we traded him, we didn't really have anyone on our team that was a hard hitter that would hit you hard enough. Like,
Exactly. It just seemed like he's still a really good player. He's still doing good for the Seahawks as it is. So it's like it's just sad to see us trade away such a great player. And it looks like you are when you trade away a player like that who is a captain on your defense, who is a leader in the locker room. It just looks like you are trading away and tanking for the season. So the fact that we're even just bringing someone in, and a lot of players are still hoping that we can bring in Quinnen Williams from the Jets. And I don't know if you saw, but on Twitter, there's been recent speculation that the Patriots might be trying to trade away Stephon Gilmore, who was Defensive Player of the Year last year. So people are saying that Patricia might be trying
but
to bring him in.
I I don't see that because we're
Yeah,
gonna have to give up a lot for him, and I don't.
especially when we
Bob
just
Quinn. I was gonna say Bob Quinn loves his draft picks too much. He's not gonna give away a lot of assets for.
when you take a cornerback at third overall in the draft, it's not like you're going to give up a lot of assets to trade for another top cornerback.
Well, and I mean Jeff Okuda and Awarie have done pretty good. Like I told you, or like we've talked about in previous podcasts, Okuda's a rookie, so he's got tons of development still to go. And Awarie is a second year, so he still has development to go too,
And people just forget about Desmond Trufant, who we signed in the offseason, who
but
just
has been injured.
yes, he's been injured, but just give him time to be healthy. And I think that's kind of why they keep. They've also been maybe like okay, it's okay if you're not fully healthy, take this week off because we have seen in the past where Darius Slay has been hamstring problems and he has been questionable all week, but he still plays. But now it seems that they're letting some of the younger guys play Okuda, Warrior, And we saw Justin Coleman back this week, who that I feel like that was another big improvement. I know we didn't stop a lot of the big plays on defense, but I feel like having. But yes, that's what I'm saying. Having Coleman back, and then again, if we can get Trufant back at full health, I think our cornerback position is
Oh
pretty
yeah,
good.
because with how Warrior and Akuda have been playing, now you can sit there and like say, "Oh, Desmond Trufant's the starter." Oh, he's kind of you can tell he's kind of winded out there. Like, oh, come out, Kuda or Warrior, go in and replace him. And then
Exactly. It's not
you
like a
can
drop off.
rotate. Yeah, you can rotate and like I said, Akuda and a Warrior still need development time,
Hmm.
but just having you need to play to get development. So
Exactly.
just the more they play, the more development. And also, I will say, Jeff Okuda has been playing some of the best wide receivers in the league, veteran wide receivers that obviously you're being a rookie trying to cover them. They're going to make you look silly
Yeah,
just because
exactly.
they have been in the league for years. So they know what to do, and you're first year.
Hmm.
So they're gonna make you look silly just because you're a rookie and you don't know what you're doing. So I I'm impressed by Akuda. Yes, so far he has not looked like a third round pick or third overall pick. I understand that. Yes, he hasn't. But give him time. Do not judge him so far. As as us Lions fans, you guys probably all like him. Like he's a good player. He still has development. He needs time to develop. He will get there. And I do think it was worth a third round pick in the future. We just need to wait and see. And I think a Warrior is going to be a good fifth round pick, I believe. He was.
Yeah, fourth or fifth round pick somewhere around there. And yeah, I believe he was fifth round pick actually, and he was projected as a second round pick all the way up
Yep.
until the or the year before or up until that point. He was projected early and then ended up dropping to us in the fifth round, which was a huge surprise. And he has ended up turning into the player that we.
I was going to say, he actually has been like a really good steal for us, and I will
Yeah.
100% take it. And once Trufant comes back, I am going to love our corners with Trufant, Awarie, Akuda, and Justin Coleman in the slot with McRoy, Mike Ford, too. I think he was playing
Hmm.
this week. Like we have some good corners, and like I said, just the more that we have that are capable of going out there and playing, the better it's going to be because then you can switch out and rotate them and keep the fresh people out there till they're winded, and then switch them. So like you can, and then you can do like personnel groups too. Like if you're versing a team and they have a bunch of like fast wide receivers. You want your fastest guys out there, so you take Trufant out and put in a Warrior and Nakuda, or they got a bigger guy and like you want like so
Yeah. It's
it's gonna be good. I'm really excited to see this team going forward once everyone like is healthy and stuff. I'm really excited to see this team, and especially with the Everson Griffen, I'm really excited to see this team.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I've said it before, it's better to get hot later in the season than it is early in the season. And I've mentioned it, I think I mentioned it to you off air that it was the 20, was it, what year was it? 2017
20,
Patriots